The Zephyr Empire had crushed 1,000 worlds. They had obliterated fleets, razed civilizations, and forced countless species into submission. When their Supreme War Council gathered to discuss humanity's approaching doom, they anticipated a quick and decisive triumph. 6 hours, the commanders proclaimed, observing holographic displays of human ships being reduced to stellar debris. They felt certain of victory because within 7 minutes, their entire empire would vanish forever. The War Council convenes. The Zephyr Supreme Council chamber pulsed with an ominous violet light. Countless holographic displays danced through the air, each showing different visions of Earth's coming devastation. The hall remained quiet except for the thunderous voice of Supreme Commander Vexter. 6 hours, he declared. The chamber absorbed these words like divine prophecy. 6 hours until their barriers collapse. 6 hours until their armadas burn. 6 hours until the final human bows before the Empire. Waves of satisfaction swept through the assembly. The Zephyr had conquered countless realms. They had reduced entire civilizations to mere footnotes in history books. Humanity would face the same fate. General Corax, his chrome-plated armor gleaming beneath the council's radiant glow, dismissed the discussion with a casual gesture of his razor-sharp talons. "We're wasting precious time even considering this matter. These humans show spirit, yes, but courage means nothing when facing absolute dominance." Commander Thane agreed, his serpentine eyes narrowing as he pointed toward the tactical display. The Empire's mighty fleet of 10,000 vessels was already advancing, stretching across the cosmic void like a deadly plague. "Begin the assault," Thane commanded. The order sent tremors through the chamber. The Empire's finest armada surged forward, disappearing into hyperspace. War was unavoidable. Victory was guaranteed. They couldn't have been more wrong. The battle beyond Jupiter. Space twisted and warped as the Zephyr fleet materialized beyond Jupiter's orbit. Their vessels blocked out distant starlight, massive instruments of destruction, planet killers designed to slice through weaker civilizations like hot steel through ice. Humanity possessed no such weapons, no such overwhelming force. At least that's what the Empire believed. On the command vessel, Thane leaned forward, his jaw muscles twitching as his blood-red eyes focused on the pathetically small fleet ahead. Pitiful. Humanity had deployed barely a fraction of what any sensible species would consider a proper battle force. Thane had expected panic. He had expected last-minute chaos. Instead, the humans had arranged their ships with almost casual confidence, a bold challenge without the power to support it. He turned toward his weapons officer. "Target their lead vessels. Let them understand their error before we remove them from existence." Throughout the Zephyr fleet, planet destroyer cannons charged with deadly energy. Each weapon locked onto its helpless target. A moment of perfect stillness, then. Nothing. A shimmer in the darkness, a glitch in reality itself. The monitors before Thane flickered with energy readings that defied explanation. A voice crackled through the communication system, uncertainty creeping into its tone. "Targets have disappeared." Thane's head whipped toward the viewscreen. The human fleet remained visible, yet somehow it didn't. The targeting computers now detected millions of human warships, vessels that shouldn't exist, ships that should have been spotted long before battle commenced. "This cannot be possible," Thane whispered. Then the first 2,000 Zephyr ships exploded. The hunter becomes the hunted. Thane barely had time to process what happened before an unfamiliar voice echoed through the intercom, cold, controlled, carrying the weight of absolute certainty. You believe this was war. A pause. No, this is elimination. The voice belonged to the human fleet commander, Admiral Marcus Ghost Sullivan. Terror rippled through the Zephyr ranks. This wasn't how battles were supposed to unfold. The Empire had never encountered phantom armadas, had never been outmaneuvered before their weapons could even discharge. They were the hunters. They were unstoppable. Yet their ships were dying in eerie silence. From the void, humanity struck, not with raw power but with deadly precision. Railgun projectiles traveling at near-light speed bypassed energy barriers, tearing through command centers before crews realized they were under attack. Zephyr cruisers collapsed inward as exotic weapons manipulated time itself, destroying ships before they could even move into firing positions. Thane roared as another cluster of warships vanished from existence, eliminated before they could respond. "We're being stalked." One of his tactical officers screamed, the realization cutting through centuries of arrogance like a blade. "They're hunting us systematically." Another explosion rocked the command ship. Thane stumbled, claws scraping against metal railings. How are they accomplishing this? No answer came. Only another voice, this time from one of the warlords positioned at the battle's edge. We must retreat." Cowards. Thane had never experienced fear, had never known defeat. Yet here he stood, watching his armada crumble within minutes. Something cold and unfamiliar crawled up his spine. Terror. "Hold your positions," he screamed, but his voice was drowned by the symphony of warning alarms. Then came the ultimate nightmare. Reality itself screams. One of humanity's impossible weapons activated, a device that shouldn't exist, that appeared in no known military database. A tier in reality itself opened. A miniature black hole materialized within the Zephyr formation. Space itself began to shriek. Thousands of warships simply ceased to exist, their matter scattered and devoured, their commanders erased before final words could escape their lips. Thane collapsed into his command chair. The once mighty empire was being systematically deleted. Humanity hadn't come to fight, they had come to finish everything. The intercom crackled again, and Admiral Sullivan's voice returned, calm and measured. "Hello, Thane." Silence. Thane understood. He had no authority remaining, no voice left to speak. Sullivan's tone remained steady, unwavering. "Your empire believed itself immortal, thought it could challenge reality itself, thought it could face us." A pause. "Now your people will whisper one name across the galaxy." Thane forced himself to speak, his voice barely audible. "What name?" A chuckle not of amusement but of certainty. "Humanity." The transmission ended. The final revelation. Thane felt his body become weightless as the command ship's alarms blazed a final warning. Event horizon detected. The last thing he witnessed was space itself collapsing. "Wait, if you destroy us, the other empires will unite against you." Sullivan's expression twisted into something resembling a smile. "They already fear us." A beat, a pause, a moment of dreadful anticipation. "Do you know why?" Thane remained silent. Sullivan continued, voice low and steady, "Because when we wage war, we don't conquer." His eyes gleamed in the dim light. "We eliminate." A single command flashed across the Zephyr fleet's remaining ship systems. Priority override initiated, commencing final protocol. Thane's throat constricted. "What have you done?" The tactical officer's face went pale with horror. They've triggered our self-destruct sequences." Thane staggered backward. "Impossible." Sullivan's voice was soft, final. "We don't need your empire." Thane's mouth opened, a desperate plea forming for survival, for mercy, for anything. Wait. The end of everything. The first explosion erupted within the Zephyr Core fleet, then another, and another. Across the battlefield's remains, every single Empire vessel, every dreadnought, every battle cruiser detonated simultaneously. The bridge ruptured. Thane's vision blurred as atmosphere rushed away. His body went weightless, spinning toward the void. His arms flailed, claws grasping for anything solid. The last thing he saw was Earth, distant, untouched. The last thing he heard was Sullivan's voice. "You should have eliminated us when you had the chance." Then nothing. Aftermath. In the aftermath, the galaxy fell silent. The Zephyr Empire was gone. 1,000 species turned their attention toward Earth, and in their hearts, a single truth took root. Humanity didn't wage war, it waged extinction. The silence of space was broken only by the fading echoes of a fallen empire. Thane had been wrong. The war hadn't lasted 6 hours. It had barely lasted 6 minutes. The Zephyr fleet was shattered. Its fragments smoldered against the vast emptiness of the void. The once invincible war machine had been reduced to wreckage, hollow shells of dreadnoughts drifting without purpose. The scattered remains of an empire that had once believed itself eternal. The few surviving warlords screamed into their failing communication systems, desperate for orders that would never come. No reinforcements, no counterattack, no escape. One by one, their voices faded. Humanity had ensured that. The Nemesis. Admiral Marcus Sullivan stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, eyes fixed on the battlefield. The enemy was broken. The Empire's vessels, once towering monuments of terror, were nothing but debris. Their systems either hijacked or turned against them. His second-in-command, Commander Elena Cross, stepped forward. Her voice was quiet. "What are your orders?" Sullivan didn't blink. "No survivors." Cross hesitated. "Their remaining ships are defenseless. Some are attempting to flee." Sullivan's gaze shifted toward her, a warning. Cross swallowed hard. Understood. The final phase of the operation began. No mercy, no negotiations. The humans had given the Zephyr Empire a chance, an unspoken opportunity to leave them in peace, to let the solar system remain untouched. That offer had been rejected. Now there would be no second chances. "Charge the Omega Array," Sullivan commanded. The Nemesis trembled. The power of a planet killer hummed through its systems. A weapon designed not to conquer, not to intimidate, but to erase.